If you're struggling to grow your cleaning business, then this video is for you. If you can't seem to get the people that you call, or the people that you quote, or the people that you want to earn the business from, if you can't seem to get them to close the deal with you, then this video is for you. Out of all the reasons that are out there that I see that people struggle to get commercial cleaning contracts to grow their cleaning business, the most common one that I see is due to what I like to call the 5 phases of CTA targeting. So what I'm gonna do is unpack each of these CTA targeting phases for you so that you can know the best way to handle your prospects at the right time. First, what is CTA targeting? CTA stands for call to action, and the targeting is obvious. It's targeting the correct call to action. And we have 5 different ones that we need to do here. And where we mess up is when we do a good call to action at the wrong time. Let me give you a great example of this. Whenever I first met my wife, I met her at a dance at college where I went to school at, and I approached her. If I asked her to marry me right there on the spot at that dance, she had never met me before, how would that have gone?
Ew, gross.
That call to action was at the wrong time. Now, eventually we got there, right? But it was at the wrong time. Great call to action, wrong time. It's the goal call to action, wrong time. But there's several different phases that I had to go through in order to win my wife over as my bride. Now the same goes with your customers. We are gonna go through each of those 5 phases that's gonna lead them into that ultimate business relationship of becoming a loyal, paying customer. And we don't wanna mess this up and do anything too eagerly too soon. Let's jump right in. The first phase is what I like to call the gatekeeper conversation. This is whenever you're doing, say, a cold call, or you're doing a walk-in, or you're doing some other form of marketing that we cover on this channel, and you encounter somebody that's at the gate. They're at the front desk, they guard the facility, they figure out who gets to go into the facility, who does not get to go into the facility, they get to decide who gets their phone calls forwarded to the right person. That is the gatekeeper, and the conversation that you have with them is key. So what we don't want to do with the gatekeeper is go straight in with a contract in our hands and say, sign this to become a customer. That's our goal, right? That's our correct CTA too soon. That's our end goal too soon. Now, I know most of us are smart enough to not do that. So what do we need to do in order to get to the next step, which is going to be phase 2? In order to get through the gatekeeper here, our call to action for them, our target, is going to be the KDM conversation. KDM stands for Key Decision Maker. All that we're wanting to do is have some short introduction with that KDM. Now, of course, as with any level of marketing, there has to be some level of trust and liking that's developed over time. It's very unusual for a gatekeeper to let someone right in immediately. Sometimes they do, and that's why you can do bunches of phone calls. That's why you can do bunches of emails or any of the other marketing methods, and the numbers game will put odds in your favor at some point. But what we want to do at this phase is we don't want to be asking for an appointment. That's the most common thing that people will do whenever I see them trying to build their commercial cleaning company, is calling right up to the front desk and saying, hey, how can I set up an appointment to give you all a quote? That's our goal. That's one of our goals, right? But it's way too soon and it's with the wrong person. So our goal here is, how can I get a conversation with the KDM? You don't need to call it the KDM whenever you're talking to them, but it's key decision maker whenever you and I are talking about how to build your cleaning business. As a tip, the best thing that you can do to get through gatekeepers is seem warm, local, and get them to like you. If you need to bring them some gifts, if you need to warm them up or visit periodically, eventually they'll let you through to talk to the KDM most of the time. Now, once the gatekeeper lets you through, we're gonna proceed to phase 2, which is the KDM conversation itself. So what are we trying to target here? Again, we're not gonna walk straight to the KDM or email them a contract right away asking them to be a customer. We actually are not gonna be asking directly and forcefully for an appointment at this moment. For most large facilities, they're not gonna be willing or even able to do an appointment right away. So what do we wanna target to put the odds in our favor right here? What you want to get from the KDM is permission to follow up with them. Of course, you've got your introduction that you're going to do. You're going to tell them who you are, who you're with, what you can do for them. You might even want to ask them some questions about their company. That way they feel like you're trying to understand them and customize services for them whenever the time comes. But ultimately, after any sort of qualifying conversation that you have with them, you want to get permission to stay in touch and permission to follow up for when they are ready in order to have that appointment and get a quote done. Don't pressure yourself to try to get a walkthrough that day. If you're trying to beat their price or trying to do something a little bit manipulative in order to get in there and just give them a quote so they have another option or something like that, and they're not really hungry for it, they're not really wanting it, it's gonna put you in a bad light. Yes, you might be able to go in and get the quote, but in the long run, how's that gonna make them feel about you as a potential vendor for their facility later on? You want to be sure to protect your reputation and make sure that they like you for the longest time possible. That way, whenever your business relationship does start, they're much more willing to work with you and to pay even better prices to work with you because you have a good reputation. Now that we have permission to follow up with them in phase 3, during this follow-up phase, this is where our call to action can be for that appointment. But we need to be careful about this here. We don't want to hurt our reputation and just ask every single week, can you do the appointment now? How about now? Are you ready for an appointment now? That can get very frustrating. It's not going to be a good look. But what I do recommend doing is reaching out at least maybe once a month or every other month. You can just give them a call. You can send them a quick email, something that updates them about your company or something that is in the market or related to what they would be interested in with their company or your cleaning services. For example, if you launch a customer that's similar to them, you can let them know, hey, I thought of you. We're working with so-and-so right now. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. I'll be glad to get you a price at any time. Just let me know. You want to be casual about it. You want to keep them updated and informed. They're going to appreciate that. That's what this follow-up phase is all about, is showing that you are thinking of them and they are on top of your mind and that you're ready to serve them whenever they're ready to be served. So that's phase 3, the KDM follow-up phase, and this is where you can target that appointment that you really have been wanting this whole time. So what about these last 2 phases? We've got phase 4 here, because these 2 are gonna get us all the way into the business relationship where you earn their business and they become a loyal customer. Phase 4 is the actual appointment itself. And at this appointment, we're not actually trying to get them to sign the contract here and now. Now, some appointments, you can feel it out once you have some experience. Some appointments might actually be willing to do that and ready to do that. So you got to know your prospect and the situation in order to make that call. But for most commercial cleaning scenarios, when you're trying to win them as a client, they're not ready to sign then and there. They might be getting other prices from other vendors. They might have to make this pitch to their boss to use you instead of somebody else. They might not be getting other bids, but you're still bidding against either their in-house team or their current service that they're not truly happy with. So the target call to action here that is extremely key is an agreement to cooperate. I have a whole video on how to do the commercial cleaning walkthroughs in a very professional way that is going to allow you to make this KDM appointment go so smoothly that they will gladly agree to cooperate with you. So I encourage you to watch that so that you can convert more of your appointments into those paying customers. Whenever they agree to cooperate with you, what that does is it makes price not a make or break factor. Because what can happen is they can choose to not even get back with you. If they don't like something about your proposal or your price or any details on it, they can just choose to go with somebody else. What you want them to do instead is to reach out and say, hey, because we're cooperating, I'm not sure that this quite fits what we're looking for. Can you make any adjustments? And you set up that negotiation conversation. So that all starts right here in phase 4 during the appointment. By the end of this appointment with the KDM, we got to have permission and agreement to cooperate on a solution that works for them. Which leads us to phase 5, which is what we all have been wanting to do, and that's to submit a price, an actual quote to them. But the difference is now we've gone through all of these different phases and all of the CTAs, and they've agreed to cooperate with us so that when we submit that price, they're going to cooperate right here. And that is still the same call to action right here is, okay, maybe you weren't happy with this part of the quote or the price wasn't what you were expecting. I'm willing to work with you as long as you're willing to work with me. Let's find a solution together on how we can take care of your facility in a way that you're gonna be happy. This way, you don't just have to submit your price and cross your fingers and just hope for the best, but they're gonna work with you and you're gonna be able to work with them. Now, there are a few caveats that we need to be aware of here because sometimes they're not gonna be able to make a decision right away. Sometimes the KDM that you had to work with isn't exactly the key decision maker. They might be a strong influencer, but the KDM is someone that you'll never be able to get a meeting with, like a high up CEO or an owner that's never around. And this person has to go get permission to get your cleaning service into the facility with that owner or with that CEO. There's a dance that you got to play with this, and you got to be understanding of your prospect. If you want to follow up with them during that, if it's going to take a lot of time, feel free to do that, but navigate it very carefully. You don't want to pester them, but you do want them to know that you're willing to work with them on a solution that suits their needs. Now, we do have to acknowledge that sometimes leads or interested prospects come in at different phases. So for example, online, if someone goes to your website, requests a quote, and sets an appointment, then you start at a different phase with them. That's always great, right? That's a warm lead, someone who's interested. Fantastic. So just pick up at the phase where they came in at and be sure to target the call to actions appropriately based on where they need to proceed to. So go watch that video on how to do commercial cleaning walkthrough so that when you do get to this appointment phase, you can absolutely rock the appointment and get their cooperation agreement. But if you need leads, you can also check out our playlist on how to get more commercial cleaning leads. That way you have more opportunities to walk people through these phases and earn even more customers and grow your cleaning business even faster. Once you've done all these 5 phases, you're gonna increase the odds that you win more and more commercial cleaning contracts to grow your cleaning business and add more clients. Thanks so much for watching. My name is Matt. I own commercialcleaningsceo.com. I've built a multi-7-figure commercial cleaning business in less than 5 years. Been very blessed to do that. And I build cleaning companies and show you how to do it. Thanks so much for watching. And until next time, keep building.